Let's do an updated no makeup look. I know a lot of girlies out there don't want to wear a full face of makeup or look like they're doing too much or just need something quick and easy to get out the door in. So let's get into it. Let's jump into our first step, which me personally, I like to start with brows because they frame your whole face. So to do that, I am going to use a tinted brow gel. The one I am using is the Milk Kush Fiber Brow Gel in the shade Cypher. But use whatever you have, any tinted brow gel will do. Just make sure it has a small spoolie on it so you can actually get in there and lightly define the brows and try not to make too big of a mess. So with this, the goal is I'm filling in those sparse areas, but since it's not like a pencil or a brow pen, it's not going to be harsh. And then since it is a gel, it is also going to help hold the brow hairs in place. This one is not like a super strong hold brow gel though, which I feel is better for more natural makeup days. Because if your brows are laminated down to your face, it kind of looks fake and it's like, oh, she's definitely wearing a lot of makeup. Again, you do not need this particular brow gel. There is one by Maybelline. I think it's called like the Fluff. I'll throw up a picture on the screen. That one is really good from the drugstore. That one I also use on my more natural days. So something along those lines would be great. Now, did I get a little carried away and make a little bit of a mess? Yes, but it is fine because I already have a makeup wipe pulled out. So I am going to use the makeup wipe here and just go around the edge real quick. And we're also going to need this makeup wipe in a minute. You'll see why. This is how the brows are looking. They're defined, but they're not harsh. They're very like soft, fluffy, natural still, not laminated to your face. Now, this is a product I have not yet tried. I actually just got it from TJ Maxx. Yeah, I already said I need to stop buying things, but there was a couple things that I needed and I seen this, so I bought it. This is the YSL Bare Look Tint, and I have the shade New 6. I think this is going to be absolutely perfect. I did swatch this on the back of my hand the other day, and there is barely any coverage to it, which is great for this no makeup kind of a look. And I think the color is actually like really nice for me. So we're just going to do a little bit of this, and this is why you need the makeup wipe out. So I'm going to move all the hair back, and I'm going to start with my fingers and start working this into the skin. Definitely trust the process on this one. It might look like it's a little much, like too much product. And you might be saying, Jasmine, like, that's got some coverage. Once you actually get it blended in, it doesn't really have much coverage to it. It just kind of looks like your skin, but better. Once you get this somewhat worked in with your fingers, we are going to wipe off our fingers with said makeup wipe. And I am moving into a damp sponge to really press it into the skin. And this is going to pick up any of that excess product. And you can see on this side of my face how beautiful and skin-like that is. Now, I hate to say it, I don't really go for longevity when it comes to these no makeup looks. Just because if you want something long wearing, it is not going to look like skin. It is definitely going to look kind of makeup-y. So if you want something long wearing, these are not the looks for you. Now, if you do not want to look like you're wearing a whole lot of makeup, this is the route I would go, is something like this, and then just pressing it into the skin, picking up any of that excess product on your sponge. This looks very, very beautiful. Looks like I slept, hydrated my skin, drank a lot of water, you know, the things. Now, you can see it doesn't have a whole lot of coverage. There's still some redness here. But what I also really am enjoying about this is you can see the skin's actual texture. So again, if you want something that is long wearing, this is not going to be for you. Now we're going in with the Tower 28 concealer. This we're only using just like a little bit of, because I still don't want to have like really dark under eye circles or anything. And then I am cleaning up the brows a little bit. And then there is just a smidge too much redness around my nose. So that's it. That's all the concealer we are using. And we're just blending this in with the sponge as well. And this is just going to give us a nice natural kind of a finish. I feel like concealer is still very important. Even if you are doing a no makeup kind of a look. It's very important for me. I don't want to have really dark circles or a whole lot of redness on the face. So that's very important. Also, why we need that makeup remover wipe, we are going in with the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Bronzer in the shade Kiss the Spice. So this one on me is definitely more of a bronzer rather than a bronzer. I don't see a whole lot of rosiness to it. I do take it on the back of my hand, use a brush to pick up some of said product, and then we're gonna go in on the face with this. Again, this I feel like is more of a bronzer. You can still kind of see a little bit of blushy tones, but this is what we're using for blush and bronzer just to save time. And if you use too many products, that is when it starts to look very makeup-y. And that's not what we want with this. This is not the time and place to have a super makeup-y kind of a look when you were trying to go for something a little more natural. And this just really melts into the skin. When I seen this in my Ipsy box, I was very disappointed in the shade, but actually once it is blended into the skin, it's very, very pretty. Like I've been saying, these are not the kind of looks that last all day because you were trying to use as little product as possible. My first concert I went to was outside in the rain, and when I got home later that night, my makeup was still on and looked great. So if you want to see a makeup tutorial on how to get long-lasting makeup to last through a concert in the rain, I can do that. Just let me know down in the comments. But this product we're using anywhere we're going to put blush, bronzer, contour. So I'm putting it on the cheeks, around the forehead, a little bit on the chin, nose, and then I am bringing that on the sides of the nose as well. It is just very, very pretty and natural looking. I am going to attempt to pick up a little bit of this on the tip of my brush and just run this through the crease because we're not using eyeshadow for today's look. And you can see, like, I have a pimple right here. We're not fully covering that because we want it to look like skin. Also, you can still see all that texture on my face even with this on. Now, let's go ahead and jump into powder. I am using the e.l.f. Glow powder in Fair Neutral Cool. Now, normally I always use a puff to set my face. Again, going for a more natural look, we're using the e.l.f. Small Tapered Brush, which is great for a light delivery of powder. I'm really just going to tap it off and lightly set, just so it does last a little bit longer and doesn't slide off my face because I am oily. So just a light set. Also, make sure around your eyes there is no creases. Yeah, it might be a natural look, but we don't want it to look gross and crepey either because we didn't blend out the creases. It is so weird for me to do a look like this. Again, I can obviously do a look like this. It's just not my preferred look, but it is pretty. I am really hoping this year people start experimenting with makeup a little more and we see less of the clean girl aesthetic. Because, like, yeah, on a daily basis, some people might just want something quick and easy like this. But if you're going out, definitely try to do something fun and not so plain every day. So now that my face is set, there is still some luminosity, not only from the products that we used for the base, but the powder itself is a glowier powder. So our skin just looks nice and healthy. Now for our next part here, you are not supposed to put liquid on top of powder. I am going to tell you that right now. There are some formulas, however, you can get away with it. This is one of those formulas. Now, do I recommend putting this on top of like heavy powder? Like if I was doing a full glam, using like my kimchi puff pass powder, baking, doing all the things, and then throw this on top, it is going to look splotchy, patchy, gross. Now, something like this where we have a light set, just a light layer of powder, you can get away with it. If you're doing a full glam, do not put liquid on top of powder. Unless you absolutely trust yourself and the products you were using. But this is the Sachu Liquid Glow Stain in the shade 01 Aura Glow. So this is one that has a pump, but if you twist it, it also has a doe foot. So I am going to wipe off the excess on this. And we're just going to do a little bit on the cheekbones. And I'm just tapping this in lightly. This is one of those highlighters that is kind of just barely there. But it's better to have something like this than nothing at all, in my opinion. Especially since I am a highlighter kind of a girl. I love to glow. So you can see that glow here. And now we're going to match the other side. I think just putting it on my finger and then tapping it in is working the best. It's so pretty. It's kind of ethereal. I am obviously going to do some on the Cupid's bow. It kind of gives like that sweaty appearance, but like in a hot way. Hopefully that makes sense and doesn't sound too gross, but if you know, you know. Now, most of the time when you see people using setting sprays, it is to actually lock in their makeup. I want this to look even less makeup-y and less powdery, even though we don't have much powder at all. I'm just going to shake this up. This is the Milk Pore Eclipse Matte Setting Spray. So it is going to help a little bit with longevity. Again, do not expect like a 16-hour wear out of this without any creasing or getting oily or anything. You're going to get oily. You're going to get creasy because we barely have any powders. We barely have any real makeup on. It's going to happen. So this is just going to help it last a little bit longer, but nothing crazy. Again, if you're doing a look like this, don't expect it to be all day wear and it's going to look perfect the entire day. You're going to crease, you're going to get oily, you're going to need touch-ups if you are bothered by that. But again, it is just supposed to be quick, easy. I could do this look probably in 5 to 10 minutes if I wasn't talking through it. Brows don't take long. The skin tint, concealer, powder, bronzer, all that don't really take long. And actually, we're almost done. So the next step, I'm going to say is optional, but I am an eyeliner girly, and considering this is more of a natural look, as I cannot do a winged liner, I need my lashes to look good. So I am going to end with the MAC Eye Kohl in the shade Teddy, which is just a brown shade. And I am going to tightline. So I'm taking this on the waterline where my upper lashes are. And it's just going to make this area look darker and make my lashes look fuller. Now, since this is more of a natural look, I am just going in with a brown mascara. Of course, I am going to still curl my lashes because I want my lashes to show. If anything, I want the focal point to be the eyes. My eyes are my best feature, so I like to show them off. That is why we are focusing on the eyes. So curling the lashes. And then this is the Sky High Brown Mascara here. This is a very affordable, accessible kind of a product. We are only doing the upper lashes, don't do the lowers. And then if you bump yourself, like I have a little spot there, let it completely dry and then use a spoolie and just spoolie it away. This is a beautiful mascara. It's dark enough to define the lashes, but it's also light enough to where it's not as harsh as black. Then I obviously use a lot of mascara. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I feel like with the bangs, since they kind of sit in the way of my eyes a little bit, since we are doing such a natural look, again, I really want the eyes to be the focal point. You just need a little more mascara if you have bangs. Or if you have glasses, I feel like a little more mascara just really helps out the look a little bit. And that's just my personal preference. Again, you can leave it at one coat. You could just curl your lashes and skip mascara. You could just skip eyelashes altogether and not touch them at all. It's up to you. And then by not doing the lower lashes at all, it really helps open up the eyes a little bit. Now, with more natural looks like this, I like to use some type of tinted lip balm. Obviously, you don't need to use this one. Disclaimer, I did find this at TJ Maxx, so I did not pay full retail for it. This is the Tatcha the Kiss You lip tint in the shade Plum Blossom. Now, I think this one is just very pretty for those more natural days. So I am just lightly putting a little bit on. And I love tinted lip balms for days like this because, yeah, you're getting a little bit of color, but you're also getting that hydration. And this is our finished no makeup look. It is very soft and natural. And like I said, you can see every single pore on my face still because we're not trying to really cover up a whole lot. We just want to look a little more put together. Also, ignore the bangs. They're not really giving today. We're just gonna go with it. But like I said, the bangs kind of cover up the brows and the eyes a little bit. So that is why we kind of piled on the mascara. So you can actually have focus on the eyes rather than everything else. I think it is really, really pretty and simple for every day. Again, you don't need to use the same products that I use today. There is so many good drugstore options as well. So definitely check out your local drugstores, see what they have in stock, use what you already own. Even if you have a full coverage foundation and you don't have like a skin tint or anything, you can mix that with moisturizer and make a skin tint. There is options. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and watching this video. If you like any kind of makeup content, I do a bunch over here. So definitely like and subscribe before you leave. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.